Hello everyone. I hope you're okay. Today I'm about to tackle the Eastern Cape Grade 11 2023 November Paper 1 for Mathematics. I'm about to do the first two questions since here on YouTube I've only taught algebra. Okay, so on question 1.1. Question 1 I'm about to solve x, ne? 1.1. Question 1.1 I'm about to solve x. In this case, I have x squared minus 3x is equal to 0. For me to solve x, there are steps I need to follow. Firstly, I have to remove brackets if I have them, remove surds or fractions. If I don't have them, I must put everything in standard form. In this case, my equation is in standard form. Thirdly, I must make the value of a, the number in front of x squared, to be positive. If possible, and make it equal to 1. In this case it's positive, and yes, it is equal to 1. Then the fourth step, I just need to factorize here. Since I have the common factor, I'll just take it outside and then have this. Whenever I have two things multiplied and the answer is 0, it simply means the first thing is 0 or the second thing is 0, or the second thing is 0. Therefore x is 3 or x is 0. Please guys, go to lesson number 1 whereby I teach how to factorize and the basics of solving x. Please, the video is titled lesson 1 algebra, and then there's factorizing, solving quadratic equations and stuff. Please go there guys. Okay, 1.2, I have x is equal to 5. Okay, for me to solve x, I need to remove brackets. In this case, I do have brackets. For me to remove the brackets, I must multiply everything inside here by x. That means I'll have 3 x squared plus x is equal to 5. Now I don't have brackets. All I need to do is to put my equation to in standard form. I'll have 3x squared plus x minus 5 is equal to 0. All together. And then now my equation is in standard form. The value of a is positive, but I cannot make it to be equal to 1. Then I go to the fourth step. It simply says factorize. In this case, I cannot factorize because there are no factors for this equation. So I just have to use my quadratic equation to find the solution. I know that for me to use quadratic equation, I must know the value of a, b, and c. The value of a is anything in front of x squared, that is 3. The value of b is anything in front of x, and the value of c is anything that doesn't have x. So therefore, I'll simply say x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square roots of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. The value of b is 1. 1 squared minus 4. C is 3, and then a is c is 3 rather, and then c is a negative 5. So this is minus 1 plus or minus, I have 1, negative 12 times a negative 5 is 60, so I have 61 over 6. So therefore, since I don't have a calculator, I'll just leave it like this. But for you guys, please punch your calculators and then round off your answer to 2 decimal places. 1 plus the square root of 61 over 6, or x is equal to 1 minus 1 minus the square root of 61 all over 6. Please punch your calculator and leave your answer into 2 decimal places. Here I'm dealing with inequalities. 1.1.3, I have 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 is less than 0. For me it's simple here because everything is in standard form. I just need to factorize. The factors of 2 and 3, that's when I add, will give me 5. So it will be 2x here, x here, 3 and 1. And then since we have a plus 3, that means our brackets will have the same sign, but not just any sign, the sign of the middle term, which is mine in negative. What's going on now? Negative and negative. After factorizing, it's simple. You must just write your critical values. Critical values are the numbers that whenever we substitute here inside the bracket, we will get zeros. Right, together. So I know that when x is equal to 3 over 2, when I put it on the first bracket, I'll get 0. And when x is equal to 1, when I substitute 1 here, I'll get 0. And then after writing down the critical values, I just need to put them on the number line. On the number line that moves from negative infinity to infinity. Start with the smallest one and the largest one. Okay. Since both of the numbers in front of x are positive, I have a positive 2 and a positive 1. They have the same signs. So I'll start with a plus here, followed by a minus and a plus right together. But I want the values of x that will make this entire thing to be less than 0 according to the statement. Less than 0 means negative. I'll go to my number line and see where can I find the negative. The negative is here. Please note that these critical values were not included because there was no equal sign there. So x is between minus 1 and 3 over 2. And then when we move to 1.1.4, I have 2 x plus 2 is equal to x minus 1. Okay, whenever I deal with sets, guys, I did say that you must have restrictions. Are you together? Okay, firstly, for everything that is under a square root, it has to be positive. So that means x plus 2 must be greater or equal to 0, and hence x must be greater than a negative 2. Are you together? And then everything on the right hand side, it must be greater or positive. It must be greater or equal to 0 as well, because there's if we have a equal to b, whatever that you put here in space of a, you will never ever find a negative value. So that's why I'm saying even the right hand side has to be positive as well. So x must be greater or equal to 1. Are you together? So this will be our final restriction. X is greater or equal to 1. Okay, so now after establishing our restriction, we can work. If we get a solution that is not greater than 1, that solution will not be applicable. Okay, let's go and solve. X squared Okay, for me to remove the square root, I must square both sides. Nah? The squared will affect the 2 first, so 2 squared will be 4, and then it will affect the square root. In this case, I'll have x squared minus 2x plus 1. Then I'll have to remove brackets. I'll have 4x plus 8 is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 1. Now I must put everything to be in standard form. I'll have x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. I must bring the 4 to the other side, it will become negative, and the 8 to the other side, it will become negative as well. So I'll be left with x squared minus 6x minus 7 is equal to 0. I want the factors. Of 7. That's when I subtract will give me 6. Those are 7 and 1. The bigger, since the sign here is negative, the bigger factor will take the sign of the middle term. 7 is bigger than 1, so 7 will take the sign of the middle term. So in this case, I just have x is equal to 7 or x is equal to negative 1. This one is not applicable. So therefore x is 7 only. If you don't want to write your restriction like me, after finding your two solutions, 7 and negative 1, you go back to the original equation. This one. You substitute these two x values. Whenever you do that, you must substitute on both sides. If the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, then that is the solution. And then when you put the other one and then you get that the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side, then that's not your solution. So in this case, 7 will be the solution and this one will not be a solution. Are we together? Okay, and then we move to 1.2. 1.2 is simultaneous equation. I have two equations. I have x plus 3y is equal to 2. This is my first equation. Then x squared minus 3xy is equal to 4. This is my second equation. Okay, let me not do using the pub. Okay, from equation 1, I can say that x is equal to 2 minus 3y. This is equation 3. Okay, for me to solve for an unknown, I just need to solve for one unknown at a time. Are you together? Because I will only use one equation to solve. Are you together? So by isolating x from the first equation, I made it the subject of the formula. That means I can use it to solve for y on the second equation. How so? I simply have to say sub equation 3 in equation 2. This thing simply means that whenever I see x on equation 2, I just need to substitute that. So I have x squared minus 3xy. Why did I have to write that? I have x squared and minus 3y multiplied by x is equal to 4. Whenever I see x, I'll put 2 minus 3y. Are we together? So now, for this bracket, what will I have? I will have 4 multiplied by 12 negative 6y plus 9y squared is 4. Then I just have to simplify the left hand side first before putting everything in standard form. 9 plus 9 is 18y squared, and then I'll have negative 18y plus 4 is equal to 4. I will have negative 18y squared minus 18 is equal to 0, because when I bring this guy to the other side, it will change the sign, and I'll have 4 minus 4, which is 0. So here I just need to divide everything by 18. I'll be left with y squared minus y is equal to 0. I want to factorize. I just need to take out a common factor. Then y is 0, or y is equal to 1. So now I need to go back and solve for x. I'll just say when y is 0, therefore x, since I created equation 3 above, please remember that I said equation 3 is 2 minus 3y. So whenever I want x, I just need to substitute my y here. The value of x was 0, so the value of y rather was 0. So for me to find x, I'll say 2 minus 3 times 0, I'll get 2. So I know that y is 0 whenever x is 2. Here I'll be like when y is 1, therefore x is equal to 2y minus 3y. 2 minus 3 multiplied by y. My y value is 1 now, so I just have to say 2 minus 3 times 1, I'll get a negative 1. This thing simply means that my y value is 1 if and only if the x value is a negative 1. All together. There, guys, I wanted to make things simple. Okay, remember I had my this is another way of solving this thing, né? Remember I had x plus 3y is equal to 2 as my first equation. Then I have x squared minus 3xy is equal to 4. I could have said from 1, 3y is equal to 2 minus x. This is my third equation. All together. So whenever I see y, I was going to put 2 minus x. That means I was going to have x squared minus 3x, and whenever I see y, I was going to say this. No, rather, whenever I see 3y, this thing it's the same as x multiplied by 3y, because multiplication is commutative. It simply means it doesn't have order. Right, together. So whenever I see 3y, I was going to say 2 minus x is equal to 4. Then solve for x. X squared minus 2x plus x squared is equal to 4. And then I'll have 2x squared minus 2x minus 4. And then I'll have x squared minus x minus 2. When I solve here, I'll have x, 2, 1, minus and plus, then x is 2, or x is negative 1. Even there at the top, I got my x to be 2 and negative 1. And then I'll move further to find the y value. Okay. Let's go to the following question. I was just showing you another way you could have done that simultaneous equation. we are given x minus 3 squared is equal to p squared minus 4. We must determine the values of p for which the roots would be non-real. When they start talking about the roots, guys, it must click into your mind that they're telling you about the nature of roots, and when they describe to you what the roots are or what they should be, you simply have to know the value of delta. Is it greater than 0, equal to 0, or less than 0? Here we are told that the roots are non-real. Here simply means that delta should be a negative number. Are we together? Okay, but for us to find delta, the first thing we must find our equation has to be in standard form. So that means we must remove brackets here first. So I'll have x squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to p squared minus 4. So I have x squared minus 6x plus 13, 9 plus 4 is 13, minus p squared is 0. So the value of a, the number in front of x, the value of b, the value of a is the number in front of x squared, the value of b is the number in front of x, and the value of c, anything that doesn't have x, is the constant term. And since I was told that my roots will be non-real, that means delta should be less than 0. Are you together? So I know that delta is less than 0, but delta is given by b squared minus 4ac. Are you together? Please check lesson 5, guys. I teach nature of roots there. Okay, BAC, I just need to substitute. The value of b is negative 6, a is 1, and then this is 13 minus p squared is less than 0. I have 36 minus 52 this thing is less than 0. So I have 4p squared minus 16 is equal to 0. Why it's equal to 0? Less than 0. I can divide everything by 4, then I'll have this thing to be less than 0. Since I'm dealing with the inequality, I always need to factorize 2 minus 1 minus and plus, write down my critical values. P is 2 and p is negative 2, and then write them down on the number line. Minus 2 and 2. Then they are not included. Both in front of them I have positive ones, so they have the same sign. So I want the values of p that will make this guy to be less than 0 according to that statement. Less than 0 is where I see a minus, so p will be between negative 2 and 2. Right, together. Let me write the second option here, because we didn't have to do the nature of roots. We have something which is squared equaling to the other thing. Everything that is squared should be equal to a positive thing. Right, together. There's nothing that you put inside. There's nothing that I'll put inside here and get an answer which is negative. Right, together. So for me, like if this is the case, that means I'll have non-real roots. Right, together. So instead of doing finding delta, putting everything in standard form, I could have said the left hand side, which is p squared minus 4, must be less than 0. Then just factorize this. I'll have p 2 minus and plus together. Then I'll put the critical values on the number line, minus 2 and plus 2, plus minus and plus, they are not included. I want the values of p that will make this guy to be less than 0. Less than 0 means negative, right? So where do I find negative? Here. So p must be between negative 2 and 2. I didn't have to do all of this, but please stick to doing this, guys, so that you'll get used to to answering the nature of roots questions. Okay, let's move to question 2. Question 2, I'm asked to simplify without the use of a calculator. I have 2 n plus 1 minus 8 times 2, and then 2. Lesson number 6, guys, is on exponents, né? Okay, please note that whenever you have a plus or a minus separating your terms, the first thing you must do is to separate your exponents. Are you together? We separate our exponent by using these two famous rules. Let me write them in red. If you multiply bases that are the same, you just take one base, add the exponent. But if you're dividing bases that are the same, just take one base as well, subtract the exponents. Are you together? So in this case, we are going to use these two rules mainly, but you're going to use since we are separating our exponents, we are using them in reverse. We move from this type of situation to this one, this type of situation to this one. Are you together? Let's go. I had 2n plus 1. It simply means I had 2 to the power n to the power 1 multiplied by n. Are you together? Here, since 8 doesn't have an exponent, I'll just leave it as it is, and I'll multiply by 2 to the power n all over 2 to the 3. Here I had 2 to the power n divided by 2 squared. So it simply means here that at the top I have 2 multiplied by 2 to the power n minus 2 to the power n. Why am I saying minus 2 to the power n? Because 2 cubed is equal to 8, and we have the same things dividing, so they'll just cancel one another. Are you together? So here at the bottom I'll be left with 2n over 4. 2 squared is 4. For me to work simpler here, guys, I can take out a common factor or just use K method, né? Which one will I do? Let me take out a common factor. At the top, the common factor is 2 to the power n. I'll be left with 2 minus 1. Are you together? This thing is divided by what? By 2 to the power n over 4. Let me erase this. Here I'll have 2 to the power n. I can change this into multiply if I'm going to flip the number on the right hand side. I'll have 4 over 2 to the power n. So these two things will cancel, and then my answer will be 4. Now I need to do a must answer question 2.2. I'm supposed to solve x. 2.2.1. 2.2.1. I'm solving x. X is at the exponent. In this case, it's the same as saying x is at the exponent. 2187. You can write this as 3 cubed. There's x here, and then this is the same as 3 to the power 7. If you have a situation like this, please note that the root of the number is always the denominator of your exponent. This x is the denominator of my exponent. This thing is equal to 3 to the power 7. Now I have my bases to be the same. I can just solve x. I can simply say 3 over x is equal to 7. 3 is equal to 7x. That means x is 3 over 7. And then I'll move to 2.2. 2.2, I have 4 to the power x minus 16 is equal to this guy here. Whenever I have plus and minuses, I need to separate my exponents, and then after separating my exponents, use the K method, or take out a common factor to solve the equation. Okay, in this case my exponents are already set. I don't have to separate them now, but I can change this. Minus 6 times 2 to the x. This is the same as 2 to the power 2x. So here I'll just say let 2 to the x to be equal to k, just to make my life simpler. I'll have k squared minus 6k minus 16 is equal to 0. The factors of 16, that's when I subtract, will give me 8. Will give me 6 rather. That's 8 and 2. Minus and plus, then k is 8, or k is a negative 2. Since I was not solving for k was just a tool to help me. I'll simply say 2 to the x is equal to 8. Then 2 to the x is equal to 2 cubed. If the bases are the same, the exponent should be equal. In this case, 2 to the x, I'll have no solution here. There's no solution because there's no value of x. I can substitute here and then get a negative value. Are we together? So then moving to 2.3. 2.3, I'm supposed to simplify without a calculator the value of x squared plus 1, x squared minus 5. If x is equal to the square root of 3 minus 2, so whenever I see x, I'll just put the square root of 3 minus 2. The square root of 3 minus 2. Okay. There at the top, for me to remove the square root, the brackets rather, I must square the first term. I'll get 3. And then to find the middle term, I must say root 3 multiplied by a negative 2. I'll get a negative 2 times root 3. And then I'll multiply that with the 2 up front. No, not up front, there at the top. I'll get a negative 4 root 3, and then here it will be a plus 4, but I still have a plus 1 outside. Still the same thing here. but there's a minus 5 there. So I have in here I have 1 minus 4 root 3 plus the 1 outside. I have 1 minus 4 root 3 minus the 5 outside, and then I'll have 2 plus 4 root 3 all over I think I made a mistake here. 3 plus 4 is not equal to 1, it's 7. Excuse me for that. Also 7 here, yeah? So at the top I'll have 7 plus 1 is 8. Here 7 minus 5 is 2 plus 4 root 3. Alright, together. So for me to deal with sets, guys, I must always rationalize my denominator. Rationalizing my denominator, I must create a difference of two squares. Let me create it in green, and whatever I do at the top, whatever I do at the bottom, I must do at the top, né? I'll just take the same thing and then but change the sign in between, just to create the difference of two squares. That's how we remove sets at the denominator. This process is called rationalizing. I think lesson 7 deals with it properly. Okay, so I'll just have 8 multiplying the two terms. The same applies here. 8 multiplied by 2 is 16, and then 8 multiplied by 4, 8, 16, 24. I'll have 32 root 3 plus 8 root 3 minus 16 times 3. 4 root 3 times a negative 4 root 3 will give me this. And then here I'll have 4 minus 16 times 3. 16 minus 16 times 3 is equal to negative 32, and then here I'll have negative 24 root 3. This thing is all over 4 minus 48, negative 32. This thing is equal to is all over negative 44. I can take out a common factor of 4, of negative 4 actually. What will I be left with? 8 plus 6 root 3. Even here I can take out a negative 4, be left with 11. This will cancel this, and then I'll be left with 8 plus 6 root 3 over 11. This is how you answer this question paper, guys. Please make sure you like, you subscribe, you share, watch all the videos, guys, especially where I share content. Please, those videos are very informative. Please do so. Thank you for everything, giving me attention, listening to my boring lesson, but I believe it's fruitful. Have fun with your mathematics, guys. Thank you very much.